Dishonored 2 is one of the finest games we've seen so far here at E3 2016. But of course, it's the sequel to a first game, and I don't know, Sebastian, if you took into account in order to develop this game the feedback from the players and some specific aspects you had to improve.
Yeah, we really focus on the players' feedbacks. We have playtesters, we have all the players from Dishonored 1, and we really take into account what they say, what they feel, what they want to develop, what they want to see. And you can see that in the story, in the game mechanics, all the powers as well. And the universe, they pretty like the first one. So my wish as art director was to make them travel to a new city and feel something different in terms of tone, in terms of what you see, what you experience, the people.
And you define this game and the games Arkane does as first-person immersion games. So from both artistical point of view and game design point of view, how do you design this kind of very unique genre?
Yeah, our game are a sort of sandbox for on the gameplay experience, what you can do, what you can decide not to do. You know, it's a wide range of possibilities. So to me, the biggest challenge was to make a city, maps, really dense, really credible. That was the biggest challenge, to make it feel like a real city that you can explore everything. And Dishonored 2 now is like, each level is like four times bigger than in Dishonored 1. So it was the biggest challenge ever in my life. Really, it's so dense that it's kind of crazy when you develop sometimes.
Mm-hmm. For that design and for that artwork to become to life, you've been using your own technology called the Void Engine.
Yeah.
How did that help you out in order to implement all this?
It helped a lot, because when you use an engine already existing on the market, you hit some limitation. With this engine based on Tech 6, we've rewritten quite everything, like 70% of the engine, and it allows us to push the boundaries on every corner. One weakness of Dishonored 1, from the player standpoint, was like texture are like a bit not detailed enough. We want to see more gen, and this moving to a gen to another was the good opportunity to bring a new engine and push the art to a world-class art. So yeah, it's way more detailed, way more dense. Everything is more physical. You have more mechanism. It's really nice.
We've seen some really crazy new powers from Emily, and new things you can do with the environment, with the enemies. I don't know if you have like a favorite list of new things you can do to give players I don't know, an example of what can they expect.
Yeah, so as you can see in the trailer, you can grab people with your fire reach and combine, do some nice moves when you kill. But also I already enjoy the mesmerize thing, because it's the stealth way to enter our environment, and you can link the mesmerize with the domino, so you can extend the situation. Sometimes you can turn a corner of a street and they are all linked, and you can shock the guy. If you don't want to kill him, you just put it to sleep, and that's super nice. And then you have the free space to explore without killing anyone.
And what about the time mechanic? Because that was like really crazy as well. Like you have like this little gadget. You can look into the past and then switch to the past and then switch back to the present day. Yeah. How does that work?
Well, it was a bit of a nightmare. When they said that, I said, no way we cannot handle like two levels at the same times. And now it's like 4 or 5 layers, because when you modify something in the past, it changed the present, so you have different presents. It's quite crazy. So the idea is like, basically you have this time travel artifact that the outsider gave you, and you can see in the past when you're in the present and vice versa, and you can decide to switch. So that allows tons of new mechanic, and that's what we call a feature map, because it's tied to this unique map. It's not everywhere in the game. So we are kind of crazy at Arkane. We decide not to populate too much or to dilute some powers or some mechanics. We tied them to environment and to missions. It's like the moving house. Also, it's a special feature for this map. So that's quite cool.
And there's also some environmental random dynamic things going on, such as the windstorms and something like that. So what can we expect in terms of things you couldn't expect, like scripted events and stuff?
I won't spoil, but specifically these storms, it's cool because it's in this district. It doesn't appear everywhere. Otherwise, it's you dilute the style. So it's there where it's tied to the silver mines. The more people work on the mines, the more they open the hole, the more the wind goes through. So we call it the wind corridor, and the tail of this corridor is the wind district, and they exploit the wind, etc. People are more suffering of that. Well, so the time travel, you can modify some levels because of the time, what you do in the past, and go back to the present and see the result, and that's quite cool.
And then besides that, there's a lot of verticality this time. I mean, the first game was also really vertical. You could try to, climb a tower and enter through there, or perhaps use a wire or use this blink mechanic in order to get there. What can we expect in terms of verticality and ways of traversing the environment?
This time it's a bit more vertical. We have some buildings that are 5-6 floors, plus you have the sewers, plus you have the canal, so sometimes it's 10. It's super wide, super overwhelming. We want the character to feel like little in a giant city, so that's super nice. You can still navigate with the powers, but it's also, we just announced that you can say no to the powers. So still in level design, you can do the routes. It's less fast with the power, but that's quite cool too.
And what about the art style itself? Is more tied to your department, of course. What can you tell us about this new city? It looks like much more alive, but at the same time, there's some dangers and there's some creepy stuff going on.
Yeah, that was a good. You talked about complaint from the player. They were like, it's a bit empty in Dishonored 1. It was because of the plague, but also because of technical constraints. We cannot display tons of characters. Now with this engine, we have more civilians. You have markets. You have tons of stuff happening. They live their own. You just go there and discover, and they are surprised by you or not. Depends on what you do, if you kill or not. So yeah, that's pretty cool. The city is a pure creation, based on tons of reference. I did some photo trips in Long Beach for the lighting. Some inspiration comes from Cuba or Barcelona. And there is this style because this is the result of a passion. It's creating, it's not copying other games, other movies. It's just having lots of inspiration and take it. And then what's cool is that at some point in the creation of the game, like 1 year after the beginning or 2 years, the Kanaka starts to exist, and then at this ready moment, you don't have to seek new inspiration. You just have to go in the city and say, okay, we have wood here, we'll do this thing in wood, or we have silver, we have spice, so people live like this. You don't have to add more and more. It's just the city is living on its own, and that's cool.
That's really cool. So now that you mentioned Barcelona, what kind of inspiration you took from there? I mean, I don't know if we can expect some Gaudi architecture or maybe the cathedral. I don't know.
No, it's not Gaudi or the touristic place. It's more like when you go in the small streets close to La Rambla, I guess is the name. It's like vertical canyon. The light is like super thin, the streets are dark, and what I really like is the rhythm of the buildings, the structures, all these details. It's way more rich than in London, and the facade work, it's stunning, and all this balcony with the metal that you can make it leak. So yeah, the inspiration is Barcelona. It exists. You can visit it. And I was like, wow. During the trip, while drawing, by night, in the day, I was in the street of Barcelona. I was like, wow, it's a super cool inspiration. And then Cuba is the sort of result.
The contrast, right?
Yeah, it's the contrast. So Cuba is it's to me it's the Barcelona that has fallen into decay and it gives like Karnaka. So yeah, the first pick for the architecture was Barcelona.
We of course have the Emily and Corvo couple switching. You can do. I think that's a beginning of the level. You decide who to play with. Okay.
Yeah, you choose, and then you have to continue this character. You cannot switch during the game. Yeah, because story-wise, it doesn't make sense to switch from one to another, and people in the game, civilians, villains, don't react the same way.
Yeah, that's what.
So that's it's not the same lines in audio. It's quite different.
So it's both gameplay mechanics. Of course, they change the play style, and then how the world reacts to you and how you live through the storyline until the end, right?
Exactly, and then also you had the chaos system. The more you kill, the more you have blood flies in this city. The more dead bodies, so the more people react. They flee.
Of course, it's not the same if you're Corvo or Emily. Of course, Emily is a personality.
Yeah, and he has a mask, so people fear this mask. She is like this, so they react to women. It's different, and you have different vibes when you play Emily or Corvo. That's really cool.
Last one. Can we expect to play Dishonored with the new Bethesda VR technology sometime?
I hope. I don't know what we'll do. Yeah, we are just. I cannot answer this question, but we don't do anything for now. But as a developer and gamer, me, myself, Rafael Colantonio, Harvey Smith, we are really excited by VR. So
being inside the world.
Yeah. Exactly.
Thank you very much for it.
Yeah. Thank you.